Now I've picked myself up a bit of a controversial species here, guys. I've got myself a Formica Rufibarbis, the taboo ant of UK for sure. So why in the UK are they a bit of a taboo to own? Our European friends probably don't understand what I'm talking about because they're like, these ants are everywhere. I mean, they have got a large range. I believe they stretch from Europe all the way over to Asia. May stand corrected on that. I've not done a lot of research on their Pacific range, but they're quite common. In the UK though, these things are rarer than, I was going to say rocking horse poop then, but yeah, they're rare. In mainland England, they only exist in 3 colonies. One of them is suspected to be a satellite nest. Bearing in mind, this conservation report that I'm reading this information off is dated 2008. Now I really do hope, to be fair, that the conservation efforts that it alluded to in this report has happened and it's been successful. Otherwise, it's not looking too great for this species in the UK. Now, I will put a link of that report in my description, and even if you're not interested in keeping these ants, have a look if you're interested in ants at all, because it is a really interesting read. I mean, I don't often read reports, I don't really skim read them, but that I did read back to front. I really enjoyed reading it. Really good conservation efforts as well. I'm not sure who the author is off the top of my head, but fingers crossed, guys. I hope it went well. So now you're asking, is Hood? These guys are endangered. What are you doing collecting them or buying them and housing them and keeping them? Surely that's illegal. Now, I would suspect that it will be illegal to collect these from the wild in the UK. Now, they would fall under the Endangered Species Act, potentially, I don't know. They would definitely fall under the SSSI, or Special Site of Scientific Interest, which is areas in the UK which are protected, where you can't mess with the local fauna and fauna. So I suspect that I would not be allowed to collect them from the wild, or anybody else for that matter. But as I said, these are very common in the European Union, and I think, well, I know, to be fair, that the ant suppliers I got these from, which was Best Ants UK, would have been sensibly sourced from Europe and not from the UK. Not only that though, they're so rare in the UK, you'd probably spend forever and a day looking for them and have no luck at all anyway. So think logically, they must have come from Europe. Now, I've never ordered before from Best Ants UK, but I know people that have, and I believe they've got quite a good reputation, which kind of reinforces my belief that these were sensibly sourced. Not only that though, I have ordered from Ants HQ before, and I know that they're reputable. So I was pretty confident that these are available for ant retailers to get their mitts on and to sell on. So I was pretty confident that these weren't sourced from the UK, which gave me the confidence to actually buy them as well. Now, I did do a lot of research to try and find out if it was okay to own these ants or not in the UK. Now, I couldn't even find anything stating that I couldn't really collect them from England, never mind source them from a fairly reputable supplier who undoubtedly, which I can't confirm to be fair, but I know it's true, that these got sourced from Europe. But there was nothing at all. I sent out a couple of messages on the forums and stuff like that, see if anybody had any inkling if it was okay or not okay. And to tell the truth, there's a big question mark. So I tried to look it up. I can't see there being an issue. Being reinforced that I've got them from reputable suppliers, I'm guessing that it's okay. If it's not, I'm going to hold my hand up, take it on the chin and get what's coming to me. But as far as my understanding is, reputable suppliers, no laws that I could find say this was not okay to keep. So I went for the plunge because for some strange reason, and I don't know why, I found myself getting strangely obsessed with these ants. I normally find ants that I like and I just kind of like glaze over, but something about these ants made me want them and made me want to research them and stuff like that. I research all my ants that I get, but there's something about these, I couldn't put my finger on it. And I wasn't even looking for another European ant species, because I was actually looking for an exotic ant species, because my ant cave is looking bare now that all my native to Europe ants are hibernating. I wanted something that doesn't hibernate to fill up my ant room a little bit more. But I came across these and I just got a little bit obsessive. I don't know why, but they've got me hooked. But anyway, I've talked about the background a little bit on this species and the legal side of life, and I think that's what's got me so intrigued with these. I think it's because they're endangered in the UK. I'm just like, I want them. I want them now. But like I said, responsibly sourced, guys. That's the key word. Now, Formica Rufibarbis are a European species, which means they need to hibernate. Now, they need to hibernate at the end of October, so these are overdue it, which I do plan to do. If you look at the test tube I've got them in, I can't put them straight into hibernation because it does need a good clean out anyway, but look at that, there's hardly any water in it. Now, if I try and hibernate these ladies in that, I run the risk of them drying out, which isn't cool, so I need to move them. Now, as these ladies have only just got to me today, I mean literally today, they need a good feed, so what I want to do is get them to settle down before I even look at hibernating them, because as you can see here, I'm just feeding them, and watch this little worker get out and then just like not want to go back in the test tube for love nor money. Totally taking the mick out of my life, but she does get in eventually. Now, before I can move these into a new test tube, I need to settle them down from their delivery, as it were, because if I just try and stick them into a new test tube, stressing them out with light, they've already been through transportation, it will just stress them out even more, and it's not what you really want to do now. So my plan is, as I'm doing here, is now she's back in the test tube, sneaky, is that I'm intending to give them some honey, which we're about to do in a second, and I'm going to stick them in a dark place, warm dark place, well, warmish room temperature, which currently is 23.8 degrees. And once you settle down, now they've all got full bellies of honey, well, they will have in a second, should I say, I'm going to put them in one of my test tubes, so there's plenty of water in there. Then I'm going to go through the slow process of lowering down the temperature. I don't think they're going to enter hibernation until the end of November at the earliest now, but they need to hibernate. It's natural for them to hibernate. Now, watch this back on the video. I think the puddle of honey or honey water in that little bit of foil was probably a little bit too much, but it is spread out over a large bit of foil, so it's not very deep, and they're quite large ants, all things considered, so they should be okay. Now, being a native species to Europe, they don't need to be heated per se, but the nest temperature is 21 to 24 degrees C, which is fairly low considering, so be mindful of heat spikes when you've got a hot heat wave in summer or something like that, so just be mindful of that. Now, the outworld isn't too bad at 18 to 28 degrees C, so you don't need to worry too much with that one, but it's still worth keeping an eye on it. Now, I won't lie, I am a bit concerned that these guys won't make it through hibernation, just because I'm hibernating them so late. They appeared to be quite hungry. If you can see their gasters or their abdomens or whatever you want to call it, I can never remember the correct names for this stuff, but blah blah blah. Anyway, if you look at them, they're quite hungry, as it were. They're not very full of food and stuff like that, and they're all lapping this up, and as you can see, watching it expand, and a lot of them have got, well, these guys have already eaten obviously, but a lot of them haven't got massive abdomens, so they're obviously quite hungry. So I'm a bit concerned they've not stocked up on food. I'm a bit concerned the time of the year it is now, and they're already past hibernation, so I'm 50-50 if they're going to make it or not, but I am still going to hibernate them. And the reason for this, every species I've had that needs to hibernate and I haven't, has never ended up ending too well. They generally die off. But anyway, that's it for today then, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it a bit informative. Please check out the link for the conservation paper. Yes, it's old, but I still find it quite informative and quite useful, and I would recommend anybody reading that anyway. But you know how it goes, guys. Check out my Instagram page, check out my Facebook group, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.